So how much money did you walk out with?
I walked out with around $1,000.
At how old?
13, 14.
13, 14 years old. You had $1,000 you made in less than a couple hours, legally, because none of your fucking little raggedy friends have made any money like that legally.
Yeah.
And you let some kids on the fucking internet stop you from making fucking pins?
It was kids at school, but
Did you punch them in their fucking mouths? What's up, guys? Compound Coalition video here. I've got Parker Manning from Nomadic Soap Company, lineage of Lance Manning and TRB EDC. This is his son. So you guys are in town, and you came into town. Amanda was doing some soap. You guys came in to show Amanda how to do soap, and you took fighting pistol, back-to-back fighting rifle. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's been a real good time.
So have you taken any tactical type classes before?
No, this is like my first day at fighting pistol was my third time ever shooting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you ready? I mean, did you just clean up? Like you really just came in and kind of taught the class?
Not really, but I learned a lot of good information.
What do you think the thing you learned that surprised you the most?
I'd say probably staying in the fight, not keeping your eye off the target, even when you're reloading and
scan as you turn around and right on. What else? What would you be able to go back now and teach to other people who didn't have any of these skills? Watch one, do one, teach one, right? You just came in, did a bunch, and you're pretty proficient right now compared to how you were. What would you be able to go back? Could you convey that knowledge to somebody who was not skilled?
Yeah, I would start with their draw for one, just bringing it up out of the holster, and then bringing it out and getting your iron sights lined up and everything. I would start there and then just letting them get comfortable first before.
Iron sights. Do you have iron sights?
Yeah.
On your Glock?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have those plastic sights?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
Do you have big dots?
No.
Did they tell you about big dots?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. You don't ever come back here without big dots?
No, they
weren't
weren't like
say
that. But
that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Cool. And then rifle?
Rifle, it's been really cool so far, just learning how to manipulate the rifle. I've already learned some things of like how I should change my gear setup and everything on my rifle.
What would that look like?
I'm going to, for one, move my foregrip in closer because I had it out a little far. So when I was doing movement and shooting, it was really hard to keep it stable the whole time and fatiguing my arm out.
How many mags are you carrying with you?
I had 6 today.
And you have that?
In the drills. It worked good.
What are you running for a chest rig?
One of your little SOE micro rigs.
Okay, cool. How many guys in class?
I think there was 7.
Were you the best shooter?
No, but I'm working there.
How long till you're the best?
I give myself.
What would it take you to beat the best shooter in this class?
Practice. Just working on my fundamentals and.
So like one day.
I don't know about that, but.
But you have a real assessment. What's the assessment?
I would say probably consistently 2 to 3 weeks or so of just getting everything down.
So you're going to go home and just start shooting in the backyard and practice?
My dad has a friend that has a little gun range set up at his house and stuff, and that's where I went before.
How far is that from home?
It's about, I'd say, 25 minutes to 30.
Cool. So not in your backyard?
No.
You can't shoot in the backyard?
No, I live in city.
Yeah, you guys need to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're out here, you'd be able to shoot in your backyard most places. They do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you out of high school?
Yeah. I graduated last year.
Graduated or dropped out?
Graduated.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What were your electives?
It was, can't really remember on my senior year.
So fucking awesome. You can't remember.
Yeah, I was online.
Okay.
For my senior year, so I didn't really have electives since I had most of my credits down and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you practice like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stuff? You just go to Walmart and choke fools out or what?
On occasion, but.
Have you ever been in a fist fight?
Yeah, I won.
You won it?
Yeah, I won it.
How many fights you been in?
I've been in one at school. It wasn't really a fight. The kid was talking crap, put hands on me, and I threw him. And then
Threw him like through a wall, or what's that? Look like?
I
Put him in the dumpster.
I did a headlock on him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you wrestle.
Yeah.
Like wrestle for real wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good?
I was pretty good. Yeah.
Did you ever lose?
Not my 8th grade year.
What about the 9th, 10th, and 11th?
I lost those ones once I got
Okay.
to high school wrestling
All right.
men and stuff. But
Is it? You think any of that's applicable on the street?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, once you're up in their face and stuff, they don't know what to do. They just know how to throw crappy punches and stuff.
You just wrap them up, take them to the ground.
Oh yeah. Once
done-
somebody gets thrown, their demeanor changes really fast.
Have you done any jiu-jitsu?
No.
Do you have interest in that?
Yeah, I'd love to get into it.
Cool. Awesome. You ever box? You ever go
No,
fist to
that's
fist?
something that I really want to get into because, I mean, I got the wrestling part and everything pretty much down, but
You got the ground game,
yeah, but I need to get my
but you're not really a
feet game and
striker.
stuff. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. So what do you're an adult now?
Mm-hmm.
So when you turned adult, what did you go look at some boobies somewhere, or what'd you do?
When I turned adult, I just chilled with my family pretty much, and
You didn't like try out your adultness?
no, because, well,
Did anything change for you?
nothing really, because they change everything to 21.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you do if you could have done it?
I don't know, probably would have went out to the bars and stuff like that and just had a good time with my buddies.
How old were you the first time you drank alcohol?
Say around 15, 16.
Why'd you do it then?
I was with a couple buddies and they had some.
What'd you have?
I had, I think Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Okay. So were you able to, like, you came home and nobody knew that you had drank alcohol?
Yeah,
You
no,
weren't
I stayed
drunk
at
or-
night at their house.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Is that something that is a part of your life now?
No, I don't. I'm not a big drinker at all.
Why would you say that?
Well, one, it's kind of embarrassing, but the last couple times I've drank, I've just puked, and I'm just tired of it.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. It's almost more important the things you don't do than the things that you do.
right.
When you look at dudes that are very successful a lot of times, especially now when with online, and you never know whether it's really the truth or not, but you hear a lot of dudes that are like, yeah, I don't drink. I don't, stay up and fucking be on the internet all night. I do
Right.
go to bed. I do get up early. And the getting up early, it's not about the getting up early. The getting up early part is about getting up when you have no distractions, and it removes all of your excuses for why you didn't work out and why you didn't journal and you didn't, do whatever it is you're doing. When I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I don't see another human being until 6 o'clock. And that's Amanda, and I only see her in passing until about 7:30. So that gives me that window to remove all of my excuses.
Mm-hmm.
There is no fucking reason that I did not work out every day if I'm getting up at 4:30.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So what are you going to be when you grow up?
I really want to get this business going and do that for my
So why haven't you?
working on it. I need to get for one, I've been slacking in internet presence and stuff and really putting myself out there.
What does that mean?
Like, just my confidence level, making videos and everything, and posting them and just not being embarrassed,
Do you have a Snapchat?
Yeah, I have a Snapchat.
What do you do with it?
Snap people.
You get a lot of naked pictures?
Uh,
Is that a yes or a no?
yeah.
You do? Really? Make sure she's over 18.
Yep.
So it's just like that, right? You know how to do Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
Snapchat goes away. You have an Instagram?
Yeah.
And you know how to do Instagram. Now we just need to teach you what to do on Instagram, right? Are you using hashtags?
Yeah, I usually try to use hashtags.
So you know about them.
Mm-hmm.
You would do, what I would say is to subscribe to the hashtags that are applicable to your company. Go look at whoever you perceive to be your competitor and subscribe to those hashtags. You'll get a notification every time they're used. And when you notice it being somebody who has a much larger social media footprint than you, start doing what they're doing. And that's why I want you to subscribe to those hashtags, because you're paying attention to companies that are much larger than yours. I don't know who that would be, maybe Squatch or, a couple of these other companies, but take and look at what they're doing and be like, man, I could totally do that, right?
Yeah.
And then just start emulating that, and then show the process too. Entertain, educate, equip. Entertain them by, you have to capture them. You have 1 second to capture them for 3 seconds. If we can hold them for 3, how do we hold them for 5? If we can get them for 5, we need that call to action. And the call to action is, purchase my stuff, buy my thing, subscribe to my course, sign up for my email, whatever it is. Most people fail because they don't actually ask for anything.
Right. They're scared to.
You'd be amazed if you have an audience, if you just asked what they would actually do for you. And most people don't. So this is how the internet is used now. It's just you have to do something. That's why when you look at the magnifying glass on Instagram, right, it all looks like titties or it looks like a vagina or what. And when you click on it, you open it, and you're like, oh, that's an elbow. It's all bullshit. It's just that first screen that draws them in, right? So how do we draw them into it? And we don't want it to be titties and shit like that, right? It has to be something real.
Yeah.
So you need to build yourself as the poster boy so that they can relate to you, right? Here I am working. Here I am at midnight building this stuff. This is the evolution of it. Here I am at 7 a.m. They went to bed, I was working. They woke up, I'm still working, right? And they will appreciate that. And they'll want to buy whatever it was you were making when you showed that to them. So when I said, what do you need to do? You said social media presence. That's the easiest part of it. Mm-hmm. You already know the hard part. You know how to make the product, and you've got a very, very solid product with years behind the product. Mm-hmm. The social media part, every fucking 10-year-old knows how to do that shit. That's the easiest part of it. So easy fix.
Yeah.
How many bars, like you're building soap, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many bars of soap can you do in a weekend?
I could probably pump out about a batch a day right now.
What's a batch?
A batch a day is about 80 bars.
80. Could you do 200?
Yeah, I would have to step up my operations.
But is it feasible in the same amount of time? You could do that in a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah.
Like no question?
Yeah.
Could you sell 200 bars tomorrow if you had them?
I can try.
No, can you? Currently, right now, if you had 200 bars of soap, could you put them out, social media, send out a text or email and be like, I have these, would people buy 200 bars? You know the answer, I don't.
Yeah, no. I don't
think people so we need to grow your customer base.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think you can't right now?
I just think it's because I'm in that early stage. It hasn't had a ton of exposure just yet. And
could Dad have sold 200 bars in a day?
Maybe, yeah.
Probably?
Probably.
So where's the difference?
Just changing faces, I'd say.
You think that's what did it? I don't know the answer.
I'm not sure. I mean, that'd kind of be my guess.
How many years ago did you come in here with the ink pens?
That was in 7th grade. So 7th grade going into 8th grade, so about 5 to 6 years ago.
Why did you stop doing the ink pens?
I moved schools, and some kids were giving me crap about it, and it just kind of brought me down about it, and, just let their comments and stuff get in my head, which I should have never done. I was 13 or 14.
So at 13 or 14, you're turning ink pens. You're buying pen kits, I assume?
Yeah.
They're kits.
Yeah.
And then you finish them and turn them into what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you start out with a...
So if I bought a kit and you had the same kit, would my finished product look the same as your finished product?
No.
So it is on the Craftsman.
Yeah.
Okay. And you came in here with how many pens?
I came in here with, I think, 15 to 20.
Did you sell them all?
Yeah, I sold them all.
Just random. Nobody knew who you were, and you sold all of them here at what, one of the parties or something?
Yeah, one of your parties that you were having going on.
How much were they?
I think I did a batch of ancient bogwood pens that I infused with some caulk in the woods, and I sold those ones for $100 a piece, and then the other ones were $35.
So you sold fucking pen kits for $100 a piece?
Yeah, so the pen kits, the only thing that comes in the kits is the insides of the pen, like how you put it together and stuff.
The guts.
Yeah. What I have to do is cut out the blocks to a certain size, drill them in, put them on a lathe, turn them.
So how much money did you walk out with?
I walked out with around $1,000.
So at how old?
At 13, 14.
13, 14 years old. You had $1,000 you made in less than a couple hours, legally, because none of your fucking little raggedy-ass friends have made any money like that legally.
Yeah.
And you let some kids on the fucking internet stop you from making fucking pens?
Yeah, it wasn't on the internet. It was kids at school, but yeah,
Did you punch them in their fucking mouths?
No, but when I think about it.
Do you know any of them now?
Yeah.
Why don't you go fucking choke them out?
Yeah.
You're bigger than they are.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
I have that pen in my top drawer. I paid you $200 for that motherfucker.
Yeah,
I took what you wanted and I gave you twice for it.
Mm-hmm.
The blue one. It's in the top drawer of my desk. You can go in there and look at it. I look at it every fucking day.
Yeah.
You should start making pens again. In addition to the soap and all the other stuff, because somebody's going to use that soap. They only see it in the shower.
Right.
But that pen, they're going to fucking pick that up every day and they're going to think Parker Manning, Parker Manning, Parker Manning. And when a dude should always sign a very expensive deal with a very expensive pen.
Yeah.
Most people, some guys believe that, right? I have a pen collection. I have a pen that's $7,500. I have a lot of pens that are thousands of dollars. So there's a market for that. Mm-hmm. The real question is, how do you make a even more expensive pen?
Right.
How do I make a pen and sell that pen over and over and over for $1,000, right? You got to have a $1,000 pen customer, but that's fully doable.
Yeah.
You should do that. You still have all the stuff?
It's at my dad's buddy's shop. He took it to use it for some projects and stuff.
Okay,
like
but
that
that aside, how much does it cost to replace it?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it, but I guess probably around, for a new lathe and stuff, 300 to 500, somewhere around there.
If that, man.
Yeah.
Harbor Freight has a lathe. I bought
That's
one
true.
for a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for $500, you could buy all the shit and be making pens
and start
this
making
weekend.
Them again. Yeah.
You have $500 in your pocket?
No, not right now.
Why?
Just because buying ammo and stuff.
How much soap you got right now?
I have gave a couple bars out, but I came with.
Where'd you give them out at?
At the class.
Who'd you give it to?
One of the instructors yesterday and another student, and then tomorrow I'm planning on giving out to all the other students.
Which instructor?
Joey.
Is that because he stinks?
Yeah. No. No.
He's probably the most. He'll probably actually use the soap.
Yeah.
I don't see Tim using soap. Does Tim
Me
look like
neither.
he uses soap?
No.
So how do you select who you're going to give bars out? Like when you meet somebody and you give them a bar of soap, how do you choose that person over somebody else?
Just if I like their vibe and I have had good conversations with them and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll usually give them a bar and stuff.
What's the vibe look like?
Just having a good conversation with them and
Feeling.
yeah, just feeling.
Vibe is interchangeable for feeling. What does Netflix and chill mean?
Some people use it as to go hang out and have sex and stuff like that. But
So the sex part, that's what
Yeah.
it is. Got it. You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
What's her name?
Callie,
How long you been with her?
4 years.
When you gonna have a kid?
I don't know.
Have you talked about it?
Yeah,
You're 18. How old is she?
she's 18. We're the same age.
And you're both like, when are we gonna have a kid? Or have you talked about how not to have a kid?
I've talked about how I don't want a kid until she's at least out of college.
What's she going to college for?
She's going to college for stenography.
Stenography?
Yeah, stenography.
Like writing for court reporters and stuff?
No,
I have that completely fucked up, don't I?
yeah, it's scanning, like ultrasounds and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what it's called.
She could work for a vet clinic. She could work for a doctor's office. She could work a lot of places.
Yeah, yeah.
I know somebody has a ultrasound.
Yeah.
You can buy them off of the internet. You need them for dogs and shit. Okay, so you're going to be the soap empire.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's going to what? Go to get this degree and then never work in that field and come work for your company?
That would be great. I'd love that.
Would she come home now if you were, like, what position would you, if you're like, hey, I want you to quit school and come and start this empire with me?
I don't know. That'd be completely up to her because she has pretty good passion and that type of stuff, But I think if I was being really successful and stuff, I have a feeling she would.
Well, you should be really successful anyways.
Yeah.
Yep. So what's your next class?
Fighting rifle.
You're taking fighting rifle right now?
Yeah, right now.
What's your next class?
I'm not sure.
No plans?
No, not yet.
Not an intermediate rifle?
maybe if I get some of my movements and stuff down a little bit more, practice a little bit more, I'd love to go to one of those classes for
Didn't
sure.
they tell you that you know the trifecta, right? You don't know about the trifecta?
Maybe.
So you should take fighting pistol, you should take intermediate action medical, and you should take the fight. So your next class should probably be the fight or intermediate action medical, depending which one comes first. But you're way more apt to save a life with medical equipment than to save a life using your firearm, right? When you're allowed to shoot somebody, when you can identify whose life it's going to save, right? Whether it be yours or somebody else with you. That's the only time it's okay to, pull that weapon out and use that weapon, right? But you're going to use that medical training and that medical equipment all the time. Like there is always an opportunity to use medical equipment to save somebody's life. So those are the next classes you really should take.
Yeah, I think that the medical one would be really cool. Just to get all that stuff down because, like you were saying, you can use that anytime. Be driving on the road, somebody's wrecked.
Always. You always see. Yeah.
Or, just different incidents. Like you could be out in the wild and you're hiking with somebody or something, they trip and fall and cut an artery or something like that.
Compound fracture, yep.
Yep, something like that.
Okay, now your turn. You ask me questions.
What really drove you to get everything started?
I couldn't just fly around the world and rob things from tombs and stuff. I couldn't be Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones. So I did this.
Yeah. Did you ever have any struggles and stuff in your start out or like questioning
of course I did.
And stuff
of
like
course.
that? And
yeah, I always overcommitted. Had no idea how we were going to do things. The first time we went to SHOT Show, we walked into a party in a penthouse that we were invited to, and we were not at all dressed for it. We totally should not have been there. The guys from Surefire, had some SF guys had just come back from Afghanistan when we were not supposed to even have been in Afghanistan, doing a bunch of cave fighting, and we were invited to a Surefire party, and we went up to the penthouse and walked in, and they introduced me to a guy, this colonel, and they said, "This is the guy we were telling you about," and he says, "We want to order 50,000 slings," and I said, "Roger that, sir." And he said, "All right, I'll get in touch with you Monday." And when we walked out of there, the guy I was with said, "How are we going to build 50,000 slings?" I go, "That dude's drunk. We're never going to hear from him." But what if we do? Well, then we're going to build them one sling at a time. And on Monday morning, the fax machine started going, and Lene said, Department of Army or something, and contract 50,000 slings. And now all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, how are we going to build 50,000 slings? Well, we're going to build them one at a time. So yeah, there was always shenanigans. I perform for an audience, and I perform much bigger and much better if there's an audience. And I do things in a manner that I want the story told in the future. Why are we doing this? Because that's how I want you to retell the story 10 years from now, because it sounds unfathomable and there's no way this will happen. But I've come to realize that when I speak that, I speak it into existence. So it's very grandiose, and then it happens. And if I don't act large on things, then they just never happen.
Yeah.
So you never know what you can do until you do the impossible, what is seemingly impossible, right? We've done movie deals and stuff and have to build, 23 chest rigs or whatever. And we typically have a week to do it. Well, how are we going to do? You just physically can't do it, but we do it. I fall asleep on a sewing machine. I hit my head. I go buy 10 shots of espresso, and the girl's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did it last night." Well, it was still in me. And then I start seeing black and white, and I have to lay down, and I'm not sure if I'm dying, and I'm not sure if I'm still alive. And I take a nap for a couple hours, and I get up and just keep going. Like, I stayed up 48 hours building rigs, and we got the shit delivered for the movie. And then that turned into guys, dealer in Italy wanted these rigs that we were never going to build. We weren't putting them to market, but they wanted them. So they started buying them. We sent them over to Italy to a dealer, and they bought them. And then the States started seeing them. And that turned into a whole thing that would have never happened.
Right, if you didn't take that chance. And
I mean, that's always how it's been. It's always if I have 6 months to work and perform on something, we're never going to start until it's due. I mean, it's always the chaos. I work much better when everything's on fire.
Yeah.
If you give me a huge lead time and we should totally be able to do it, it's just I have no interest in doing it. So it's always the impossibility And then the next time we can just do it so much fucking bigger.
Right, and that's one thing why I really enjoy wrestling and stuff, because you push your body and your mind and stuff to different points to what you would never thought you would have been able to do.
The underdog. Can you wrestle out of your class? Could you wrestle a bigger dude?
Yeah.
And win?
Yeah, probably.
Probably, or yes, I have.
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to practice with bigger dudes all the time.
Yeah, because when you get clobbered, when you get beat up by the dude your size, like, man, my bigger brother beats me up worse than this every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see the company?
I see it being pretty big, being in different stores and me traveling around and going to different, like, festivals and stuff like that.
Where, like, what stores?
Boutiques and just, like, smaller towns and stuff like that.
No, Nordstrom's. Saks Fifth Avenue. That's where you go.
Okay.
I want to see your soap in the Aria in Crystal Mall. Places like that, right? I want to see your stuff in Phipps Plaza in Atlanta, where the Ferraris and the Rolls Royces are in the lobby. Mm-hmm. Where the Rolex dealer is. I want to see your soap in the Hublot store and in the Rolex store. That's where you go.
Yeah.
Where are you going to travel to?
I'd like to do, like, cool different, like, loops and stuff in different states, just traveling.
Cool. And Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dubai. Everything I just named, like, we know the people to put it there. I don't know the people to put it in wherever you were going to go.
Right.
But we know the people to put it where I just named.
Yeah.
So that's where you go. That's your brand. Mm-hmm. You can build a product for the masses, or you can build a product for rich people.
Right.
And there's something to be said for doing both. But rich people never have a money problem, no matter what the economy is doing. Guys with jets, they don't ever have money issues. So just have that in the back of your mind. You got to do all the bullshit stuff to get to that point. But that's you need to dream bigger.
Right.
Whatever your thoughts are, whatever car you picture yourself in, whatever it is, you dream bigger. You imagine it every day. You think about this thing, right? That jet. What does the jet look like? What am I driving up to the jet in? What does the gangplank look like? What's the interior of the jet? You have to visualize these things, and you will literally create them into existence. Mm-hmm. And I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but there's really something to this.
No, yeah, I believe you. I mean, yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Not that I can think of right now.
You sure? Because you're going to think of all kinds of things as soon as we turn this off.
Yeah. How do you build those, like, contacts and?
You do things for them. There's no gatekeeper anymore, right? When we started, I used to joke, I'm like, man, we've been doing this since before the internet, and we really were. You had to go places and meet people and shake hands and wait for a check to clear and then buy the materials. And you would always promise, I'll have this in 4 weeks, but half the time you didn't even have the deposit in 2 weeks. Even though they gave you the check, your bank didn't clear the check. Everything's seamless now. I can talk to people all over the world. I send him a message, and I send a dude in Japan and Germany a message at the exact same time where they're tagged on it. And I have an answer when I wake up in the morning, always. Right. So there's no gatekeeper anymore, right? If you want to talk to, I mean, most, like not JP Morgan and those dudes, but like dudes like that, you're probably not talking to them on social media. But if you wanted to talk to like Andy Frisella, Rob Bailey, Ed Milet, chances are if you fucking send a message to those dudes, them or somebody very close to them is seeing that thing. Like there is no gatekeeper. Add value.
Yeah.
You want to interact with some company or some influencer, get in their social media for weeks and add value. Hey, this is super cool. But not just like 1 or 2 words. Like actually type out some thoughtful shit. Don't hit them up. Somebody in their camp will know that you were there, and you were like, when dudes hit me up every day, they're like, hey, I really love your stuff. SOE is such a cool brand. I don't recognize you. You know, you're not there. But the dudes that are, we know who they are. And those are the people that we will actually do something with. Yeah. Add value. I've had people walk in here and they're like, hey, I want a job. I'm like, I'm really not hiring. And then you go outside and they've cleaned up the parking lot. I'll give that motherfucker a job right then. But the dude that comes in here every day looking for a job and just puts forth no effort, if I don't need him, I don't need him. But if a dude takes the puts forth the effort and actually does something. You want to get some dude's attention you want to work for? Walk in the fucking bathroom, clean the bathroom. Because most motherfuckers there ain't cleaning the fucking bathroom anyways.
Yeah.
Add value. We're not hiring. If I'm always hiring the right guy. Right now, I don't have anything in my head where I need to hire a guy. But if somebody walks in and he's the right guy, I'll always hire that dude.
Yeah.
And no matter how long somebody's been there, if there's a mediocre dude, that dude can be replaced by a dude who's a better dude. Just be the better dude. When you walk into some situation, always deliver more than you've promised. If you're on time, you're late. Always be fucking early. There's something said for being the first dude on the property. My people who come on this property last, they certainly know right when it's time to quit because they're also the first people off.
Yeah.
They're also the lowest paid people generally. That's just how that is. Just be the fucking dude that always delivers no matter what. Mm-hmm. Say the answer is yes to everything and then figure out how to fucking do it or at least try. Most people you're going to come in contact with, they're not even going to try. So if you're not sure what to do, always do something. You got a 50-50 chance it's right and at least you tried because the dude who matters noticed that you tried when all the other dudes did not.
Right.
Yep. Anything else?
How long did it take you before you started getting like employees and stuff like that and started really growing?
Ooh, I met your dad at one of the first gun shows. I had me and my girlfriend, kind of building stuff. I met your father at one of the gun shows, and he's like, "Hey, I'll come over and hang out." And he sat next to me on a sewing machine in Mom's garage and sewed. He wasn't an employee though. Your father took me places that I probably never could have gone or never thought to go. Right? Your dad, reconnaissance Marine, he was selling knives. Just, buying them out of this catalog and selling them to other Marines and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, let's go to Camp Pendleton." I'm like, "Fuck, I can't go on Camp Pendleton." He's like, "We can go on Camp Pendleton." So we go into a Quonset hut. Like, you ever see Heartbreak Ridge? The TV show?
Yeah.
So Heartbreak Ridge. We walk in this Quonset hut and there's these dudes playing pool. And your dad, like, throws all this shit over their pool table and fucks their game up. He's like, "Hey," he builds these riggers belts and builds these holsters and you guys should buy these. And dudes just started pulling out cash. The next weekend we went down to BRC at Coronado across from the SEAL team base. Mm-hmm. And he did the same thing. He's like, let's go over to SEAL team base. And we went over to the over to the SEALs and did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of pool tables on military bases because that's where we always threw the shit was on the pool tables. And that's where that started. But as far as employees, I didn't ever have employees. I had friends that wanted to be part of it. Like the closest thing I had to an employee was like Big Ed. He worked at a gas station and he just loved hanging out and doing stuff. And looking back, we really treated him like shit. But as far as a first paid employee, I really didn't have one until Dwayne had come back from Bosnia, Strider Knives. And he's like, "Hey, we should get a shop together." And I'm like, "That sounds awesome." And what he meant was, you should get a shop and I'll fucking pay a little bit of the rent and you pay. Like when I pulled up to the first shop, I ran out of gas. Like I died. My truck ran out of gas and pulled up in front and coasted in front of the shop, luckily. And then I got a bunch of tickets overnight. So I got a couple Marines. That was on like a Friday probably. And then I got a couple Marines help me push the Blazer around to the back of the shop. And I lived in the shop for 90 days.
Really?
There was no water in the shop. Maybe there was no shower or anything. There was water because the toilet flushed. But I lived in the shop and just traded Marines coming in. They're like, "Hey, and I didn't have shit in the shop. I had like a couple of things in the shop. And I'm like, "Hey, I'll trade you MREs." And I just ate MREs.
Yeah.
And put on like 20 fucking pounds in a couple of months. And just started doing that. But I didn't have employees for quite some time. The first employee, a friend of mine, went up. There was a t-shirt company up the road and we had made some real rough flyers. And we photocopied them and put them on the windshields of all these people's cars. And they were chasing us out. They're like, "Hey, get out of here." But enough of them were on the windows that two ladies came in later that afternoon. And that was Imelda and Maria. And that was my first two employees.
Really?
And I got very, very lucky with that I had Mexican ladies because Mexican ladies all know how to sew. Mm-hmm. And I know that's stereotypical, but in San Diego, at least these ladies, when I needed more people, they brought more people the next day. And then when I needed more people, like we went from 6 employees to 36 employees overnight. When I said, hey, I want to hire more employees, and they brought them in, and every one of them could sew. And that was my only experience really with employees. And when I came home from prison, I put an ad on, I think it was Craigslist was still going. It's kind of dead now. Now it's Marketplace. But I put an ad in that I was going to hire some sewers, and this German lady showed up. She spoke more German than English, and her husband was in the Navy, and she worked in my mom's garage with me. And then again, another lady showed up, and she was a Mexican lady, and she's like, can I take some work home with me? I'm like, sure. And she took a batch of work home. Let's see what she could do. And what I think she was doing, because we were giving her like hundreds of pieces of things, and she would take them home and bring them back done the next day.
Yeah.
I think she had a sew shop or something near the border on the other side of the border. And she was sewing gear like better than I was sewing gear.
Really?
And she would bring it, no matter how much we gave her, she would come back. I'm like, what do I owe you? And she's like, $2 a piece, $5 a piece, whatever. So that was my experience. When I moved here, we ran a radio spot and a newspaper spot, and I had 173, I think it was 173 people showed up the first week. Only 2 of them could sew.
Really?
There was a lot, like when James was like, man, all these factories are here, like Oshkosh, HIS, Chick Jeans, Levi's, all these factories are here. So in theory, they had shut down and most of the labor had gone, all the manufacturing had gone like to Mexico, but the factories were here, so the people should have still been here. But that wasn't the case. They had actually shut down 10, 15, 20 years earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So we had people come in that were literally just too old to work. And then most of the labor, most of them, like a lot of them had died. So we had people coming in who had worked at factories, but they couldn't thread the sewing machine. And what we come to find out is that most of the factories, they're automated. So if you've never sewn, you could sit down and line this material up where the little light eye, the lasers now, or the dots, they use a fabric drill. So you just put this here and then you push the button or the foot pedal and it's automated. So they're programmed. So we had all those people come in, but they couldn't sew what we were sewing. The first 2 ladies I hired still work here today.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
18 years later. And now we hire people and we just kind of teach them what we want to teach them. And working here, our factory, like I don't have like a factory. I had never really been in a factory for a long, long time, 20 years probably, till I actually set foot in a factory. And I'm like, holy shit, I see why they call it a sweatshop. Like there is no air conditioning. It's fucking swamp coolers. Everything is fucking humid. The light is shit. And that's how it is. Like when you go from Carhartt, there's a Carhartt in town. And we got a ton of air conditioning. Like it's cold when it's hot out. It's warm when it's cold out. I've got employees on the floor right now that have worked here 5 years that are making more than their family members who have worked at Carhartt after 20 years. So pay them well. Find people that can do the task as you need it done, and then pay them so much that they're never going to go someplace else. And that's like when you hire somebody, and especially starting, right? When I would teach people because who was interested in making tactical? Dudes.
Yeah.
Right. So when I taught a dude how to sew, I created a competitor for myself. So when I hired guys, they were sewing because they had an interest in the gear. Mm-hmm. When I hired women, they were hiring because they had an interest in a sewing career. So just kind of watch that too. When you hire somebody to build your soap, are you creating a competitor? Because like we would hire Marines all the time that would come in and work at the shop. And they're like, well, man, I should be building this stuff. I just worked here this weekend and I took in $5,000 and John's paying me $10 an hour. I should go build it. And we did. We had a lot of guys go out. We had guys photocopy patterns. We had guys steal and photocopy out of the filing cabinet and dealer lists and stuff like that. And then we had a dude work for me. Man, it even happened here in this town after we moved, but it happened a couple times in Oceanside where we would call up to order materials and stuff. And they're like, which address do you want this sent to? I'm like, I only have one address. They're like, well, so-and-so called and put this on your account and shipped it to this other, like there's some shady shit. It was never women that did any of that.
Right.
So always compartmentalize your stuff. It's called checks and balances, right? The guy that writes the check, the person that writes the check is never a check signer. The person that has the opens, the property doesn't have the key to the building. They have to both be there together. So like just always cover your ass.
Yeah.
Because if you're not looking, if you don't, like, I had a dude work for me for years, and I would pay him, and he would write his hours down. He was doing some stuff off property for me. And I just happened to get up early one morning and come in, and I noticed his car wasn't there. And I thought, oh, that's weird. I drove past that property to get to another property. So I waited till he got here, and I looked, and he wrote down that he was there at 5 o'clock that morning.
Really?
And I had come back there at 6:30, and he wasn't. So I just waited, and I did that every morning, and for 2 weeks until I brought it up. And I'm like, hey, I know you weren't here. What the fuck's going on? If you're not checking your own shit, if you're not looking at your employees, then it's your own fault.
Yeah.
If you're not checking to see what's going on. So be aware when you go to scale that and hire people, compartmentalize if it's an issue. Most people can't do, like, if somebody came in here and was going to try to, do my designs or whatever, a local person, they're not going to be able to scale in the manner that we've scaled. I've got that 35 years of heritage. And then also, if you really push me on what I do every day, I do social media stuff. And then also, when you start a company, if in 6 months your company isn't making more money, well, then you're spending your time doing the wrong shit.
Right.
And then when you have employees too, you'll have employees that are like, man, he won't clean the bathroom. Why should I clean the bathroom? Well, I can spend my hour doing stuff on the internet, which brings in $5,000. The dude I'm paying, he spends his hour doing whatever you pay him to do. You have cost sources and you have income sources. If that employee can't physically do something in that hour that brings money in, that is a cost source.
Yeah.
So that's just basic business. Like, you should probably take some business classes, even like just online or part-time. But I mean, you have an advantage now. We used to physically have to seek it out and go someplace. And now the answer to everything is right here. So good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Not that I can think of. Feel like I got a lot of really good information.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we turn this off and you think of some more, put it in your phone, and when you have 3 or 4 of them, send them to me.
Okay.
All right, we'll cut this off. What?
What's the name of your company and where can they find you?
Nomadic Soap Company. NomadicSoap.com.
Is it Nomadic Soap or Nomadic Soap Company?
The name's Nomadic Soap Company, but the website's NomadicSoap.com.
Okay. Drop the company. Stop saying that. You'll confuse people.
Okay.
Just go with Nomadic Soap is the name of my company. And the URL is nomadicsoap.com. And you have an Instagram and a Facebook?
Yes. And my Facebook page is Nomadic Soap. And then my Instagram's Nomadic Soap too.
Awesome. Do you have a TikTok?
Yes, and that's also Nomadic Soap.
You will find that your TikTok will grow 4 times faster than all of your others. You will find that you have older people on Facebook, and older people have more money. Instagram are 20 to 35-year-old people typically that like very curated photos. But follow other soap companies, and there's some fucking rapidly growing ones on TikTok, and then do what they do.
All right.
A lot of them are prettier than you, though.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. Do what they do. Take what they're doing and build a core base. You only need 100. You only need 100 true fans.
Yeah. And
if you do them right, they will tell 3 people. I used to spend thousands of dollars every month on full page ads. We don't do any of that shit anymore. I have 0 ad spend right now. It's all word of mouth.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just build your audience. Your audience is the most valuable thing. The product can ebb and flow. When I turn on a video at night, I've got 50,000 people that have watched that video. Now, that's how many people have clicked on it. They haven't all watched it, but 50,000 minimum
have at least seen your stuff.
Have at least clicked on there at one point, yeah. And now it's up to even 175,000. So just add value, entertain, educate, equip. Entertain them with something. Educate them with something they didn't know they wanted or something they needed, and then a call to action. That call to action is join my page, join my email list, whatever. Do you have a text app?
No.
Do you have an email list?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, so SMS is text. You're going to have way less on your text, but you're going to find that text people will commit and buy. Way more money comes from text, and I think we've got probably 10,000 on our text, and I've got probably 200,000 on my email right now. But I make way more money off my text.
Okay.
Yep. And make it prestigious. Hey, how come you don't have this thing? Well, because you're not on my text app. We had it on. We give text out an hour early to grow our text app. When we were starting, we put it out an hour early, and shit would sell out. Well, I don't want to be on text. Well, you missed it.
Yeah.
Wasn't important. How come you don't have this? Well, we did it, but it was more important to the people that bought it before you got to it. And then push your text and email out. We send a text every day. You don't necessarily have to do that right now. And then we send our email out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the reason I'm doing that is because Katanica clothing, Katanica shorts, the shorts I always wear, I noticed that they were sending me an email on Thursday, and I would always open it and put the shit in the cart. I'm like, I'll buy it later. And then later at night, I would like, I'll buy it later. And then I get another email on Friday. I do the same thing. But on Saturday, when they sent me an email, I always finally had that stuff in the cart and bought it. And I'm like, hey, this seems to be working. I open it every time. I put it in the cart, but I never buy it till the last time. So we started doing it, and our sales doubled when we started doing that method.
Wow.
Yep. It's just little shit like that, man.
Yeah.
It makes the hugest difference. I want you to constantly be chasing. I have this product. I have to sell it. Oh shit, I sold out. Now I have to make more product. Oh shit, I've got all this product. Now I have to find the customers. I want it to constantly grow.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. I want you to have a problem every fucking day. And when you solve one, I want something else to become the problem. That's how you're going to make the first $1 million.
Yeah.
How much money do you have to make every day to make $1 million?
I think you said 3,000 something.
About 3,300.
Yeah, 3,300.
And that's if you're working 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a 5-day-a-week motherfucker, or are you a 7-day? So you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do this again in 30 days.
Okay.
You got your own music yet?
What?
Did you not just hear that music?
Yeah, I heard it.
Did you hear that it said SOE in it?
Oh, did it? No.
Where the fuck were you at?